Hello students, today we are going to do The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain, Part 2. Before we begin students, let us just quickly revise Part 1. So in Part 1, we learned that the story opens with Aunt Polly scouring the house in search of Tom. She finds him in the closet, discovers that his hands are covered with jam, and prepares to give him a whipping. Now Tom cries out theatrically, "Look behind you!" And when Aunt Polly turns, he escapes over the fence. So we found out that he is an escapist. After Tom is gone, Aunt Polly reflects ruefully on Tom's mischief and how she lets him get away with too much. Also, we noticed that Tom encounters a newcomer, a boy his own age, who appears overdressed and arrogant. Tom and the new arrival exchanged insults for a while and then begin fighting. Tom overcomes his antagonist and eventually chases the newcomer all the way home. And when he returns home in the evening, he finds Aunt Polly waiting for him. Now she notices his dirtied clothes and resolves to make him work the next day, a Saturday, as punishment. Clear, children? Now from here onwards, we will read about Tom Sawyer and Aunt Polly in part 2. Okay. Say, that looks like fine. Can I try? Asked Ben. Now Ben is asking, can I try? Nope. Sorry. Aunt Polly is very particular about the fence, and you might just mess it up, said Tom airily. Or maybe you could, if you give me something in return, he said cunningly. Cunning? Smart, in a smart manner. I can give you an apple, offered Ben. Please, Tom, let me paint just one part. Now he's requesting Tom. Oh, well, all right, said Tom, making a great show of reluctance. Reluctance, unwilling. So children, did you see that Tom wouldn't want to do this boring job, but he reluctantly starts doing it. And when Ben comes there and pities him for the boring job he has been doing, he thinks of a trick and takes this situation to his advantage. How? He smartly convinces Ben that this job is very interesting and pleasurable. Plus, it's not every day one gets an opportunity like this. Because it's human nature to run after things that are rare and beyond one's reach. So Tom tactfully applies his genius to make a tiring task of whitewashing look very appealing. So another key word for Tom, genius. Okay, children. So Ben took the brush and began to whitewash the fence with big bold strokes. Tom sat in the shade and munched on the apple, waiting for more victims to pass by. So Tom was enjoying while Ben was whitewashing the fence. And sure enough, they came. Many boys from the village passed by. They stopped to jeer at him, but ended up painting a large part of the fence. By the end of the day, the fence was quite done, and Tom was richer by a bag of marbles, a rat, a piece of string, some chalk, a key that had no lock, 6 firecrackers, a dog collar, a brass doorknob, and a fence with 3 coats of whitewash on it. Indeed, if the whitewash hadn't got over, he might well have bankrupted all the boys in town, having no money. So Tom stood back, satisfied, and observed his day's achievement. Aunt Polly would be pleased with him that night. Yes, she was. Well, Tom, that was a good day's work, she said at dinner, giving him an extra helping of pudding, which of course Tom ate quickly, without letting her know how he would got the job done, for that would have earned him a neat box on this ear. So, children, one of the most prominent scenes in the book was the fence scene, where Tom Sawyer was tasked by his Aunt Polly to whitewash their fence as a punishment for a prior mischief. So, at the end of that day, we observed that a dozen boys painted the fence for him while he played to his heart's desire. So, that finishes our chapter, children. I hope you are clear with the episodes and the things that we have discussed. Now coming to the character sketch, children, Tom Sawyer and Aunt Polly. So Tom Sawyer, fictional character, the young protagonist, main character, and at times he appears as a troublemaker, but he is a good boy and considered the epitome of the all-American boy, as we discussed earlier in part 1 as well. Tom Sawyer is full of mischief, but basically, so this is a beautiful phrase for you people, pure-hearted. The story's hero, Tom, is a badly behaved orphan with an attention-getting streak and a heart of gold. Clever trickster leading the boys of the village in various adventures, and a dreamer with ambitious visions for himself. Clear, children? Now coming to the character sketch of Aunt Polly, children, fictional character, Tom Sawyer's aunt and guardian, sister of Tom's deceased mother, takes care of Tom, wants Tom to be disciplined and responsible, religious, kind-hearted, simple old woman, and also worries about Tom's safety. So these are the key points that you can add to your answer when you are framing the character sketch of Aunt Polly and Tom Sawyer that we discussed in the previous slide. Okay, children? Coming to the theme, children, the main theme of the adventures of Tom Sawyer is the joys of childhood when the world is full of wonders and children are free of the heavy responsibilities of adulthood. It also talks about friendship as an emotion, wherein children create their own adventurous world. And it also talks about child's imagination. And we actually read about it, how Tom's imagination allows him to escape from many of the limitations of the world that is there around. So basically, if you are to write on the theme of the chapter, you're going to keep in mind these keywords. Okay, friendship, joys of childhood, wonders, imagination, and that's how you weave the theme around the chapter. Clear, children? Coming to the title justification, we know that Tom Sawyer is the central character of the story and he almost appears in every scene as the chief character. So the entire chapter talks about the mischievous young boy, and the story focuses primarily on Tom Sawyer. Also, if you look at it, children, it is the adventures of Tom Sawyer. So it's in the plural form. It's not one adventure we are talking about. It's a kind of story within a story. That means there are several anecdotes connected together. Various episodes are being connected together. And we get to know about it. Also, the scenery changes, as does the cast of characters, but Tom is always there, for better or for worse, front and center. Hence the title, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, is justified. So go through the title justification very carefully, children. We'll discuss this in the next class we have. So your worksheet, children, list 5 things Tom earned in return for letting his friends whitewash the fence. Why do you think Tom would have bankrupted the rest of the boys if there had been more paint left? Why did Tom pretend to be reluctant to let Ben paint the fence? Give the meaning of the following words: retorted, jauntily, cunningly, reluctance, jeer. And give the character sketch of Tom Sawyer. So you're going to answer these on the basis of what we have read so far. All right, children? Stay safe, children. God bless you.